the economy is doing, and the big story that was the banking story before demonetization, NPLs. That story will be back on the table. And today we can already see Axis Bank as one of the weaker stocks today, pulling the Bank Nifty down, which is incidentally the weakest performing index as well. So the story of the day will be the banking stocks and their results. Nilesh Parikh, the Associate Director at Edelweiss Securities, is joining us to prepare us for these numbers. Nilesh, good morning. Thank you very much. First, Axis Bank, the biggest of the three that will give numbers today. What are you expecting? Will there be a big GNPA number? I think last time they did 4.17, which was quite a shocker of a number. Should we be prepared for something like closer to 5?
Good morning. Yeah, I think we should be prepared for a number closer to 5. Given what the guidance that they had given set out last time post the call, that they are expecting, the slippage run rate to be elevated for the course of the year. And, they had revised their guidance from a 60% slippage from the watch list, and they've refrained from giving a number, but they've clearly guided for an increased spike in credit cost for the balance part of the year. So I think it's fair to assume that, from a 4.17% number, you would see gross NPLs inching, closer to 5%. I think that's a fair assumption.
Nilesh, good morning. But the stock has done well from the recent lows, and you still have a buy call on the stock. What's driving that call?
Well, see, one of the things that we had looked at it closely post the Q2 also was that, there's going to be an interim, pressure on earnings. We've seen a late surge in slippages for them. And I think that's something that we modeled into our numbers for last time around. And what we said that, there is going to be a temporary lull in earnings, specifically on the back of credit cost. But I think when things start to get normalized, this is still a franchise with a liability, with CASA at about 45% and a retail loan book closer to 40%. I think, it will come back to a pretty steady state normal earnings ROE profile of about 18 to 19% in a short span of time. So, taking that into account, we've kind of stuck to our buy call, and we maintain that, for the time being. Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm actually looking for more specific numbers, Nilesh, just to prepare us. They could have treasury earnings as well. Many of the old loans could have been even written off. And with the treasury earnings, they could write off a little more and therefore make the GNPA number look lower. I don't know how things will pan out. If you could tell me what is your NII expectation, net profit expectation, margin expectation, GNPA expectation.
Sure. So, just starting with, I think one of the key numbers that we will be watching out for is the slippage. So, if you look at the last quarter in Q2, there was, a spike or two slippages to the extent of about 8,700 crores.
Yes.
And, our expectation is that there'll be, you obviously will see a decline from there, but it will continue to remain elevated in the range of about 4,500 to 5,000 crores. Okay. So that's something that we are working with. Obviously, with, as you mentioned earlier on in the show that recovery efforts will have been, the intensity of that has been lower this quarter, given that the focus was more on the demonetization side. We're not expecting a major reduction from a recovery. Yes, write-off is something that they could take, but specifically gross NPL is something that we are working at about 5.1%. Okay. And in coming to the NI, we're looking at about a 14% kind of a growth for them, which is about at specific numbers would be about 4,750. And from a PAT perspective, given that there was running against a high base, there's a decline, a YOY decline that we're expecting. Specifically, we're looking at a PAT number of about 550 crores.
Okay, let's move on. Yes Bank has been the strongest banking stock. What are the key expectations here?
So Yes Bank, see, if you would have seen that in IndusInd Bank also, I think there are, along with IndusInd, Yes is another bank which, we see that the recovery in their earnings will be faster than what we've seen for the others. And given that they had limited worries on asset quality, for them, the entire demonetization exercise has been a blessing in disguise that, it's been a boon for them in terms of customer acquisition. So clearly we are seeing a strong set of numbers to emerge from Yes Bank, similar to what we've seen in IndusInd. So we're expecting a 25% growth in profit for them on the back of loan growth. Given that they had a high base, the loan growth optically will still look higher at above 30%, which will translate into a strong NII of about 32%.
All right, we'll leave it at that. Thank you very much, Nilesh Parikh, for joining us.